Okay, I have two handouts for you. Okay, two sets of handouts. One is syllabus, okay, class syllabus, and the other is the first class survey. So please take a look and then circulate it around. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to turn on the screen. And then see how it goes.
이거 있어 그럼? 이건 넣거나. 이거 나왔어?
There's a reason. You know later. Anyway, all right, let's get it started. But how come the screen does not come up? Please. I don't think we need it. Do we need microphone? Or same thing, right? Yeah. So, thank you for bringing this, but next time you don't need it, okay? All right, that's good. Let's go. This is intermediate corporate finance class, GBA 2011, right? And then the same class is going on in business, okay? Major, right? In the name of corporate financial strategy. What are we going to do? First, I'm going to do the course introduction about myself, and then turn to you guys, and then let you guys introduce yourselves. Okay. Then we'll go through the class schedule or the syllabus one by one, and then talk about the grading schemes and assignments and all those things. Then we'll move on to chapter 1, about introduction of this class. Right? So, first thing first, who are you? Me, Andy Kim. Okay, that's my name. Korean name is Kim Young-han, right? That's Kim Young-han. You can address me as, I don't know, whichever way you want. Okay? Professor Kim, or Andy, or even you can say Professor Andy, right? That's a typical way of addressing in Singapore. And then, before I joined here at SKKU, I was teaching at NTU of Singapore for about 5 years. Right? Anybody from Singapore experienced with those areas? No? Okay. It's what's that? The engineering school. Okay. Singapore has about 3 big universities. Right? NTU. The biggest engineering school, NUS, National University of Singapore, and then Singapore Management University. And obviously the best one is NTU, okay? Especially for finance. I mean, the guys in the finance industry over there, hedge funds, managers, or other investment bankers, try to hire NTU graduates because it's an engineering school in the first place, so you're supposed to be good at numbers anyway, right? So they are very popular, and then they are accounting major also, especially. Accounting major is their national #1 in terms of college entrance exam cut line, okay? So they're very proud of it, and it was a great experience to work over there. I was teaching a similar class in that school. Before that, I graduated from the University of Minnesota in 2009. And then before that, I got my MBA at the same school. And anybody from Minnesota or northwestern area? Chicago? No. Right? That's the coldest place in the United States, I dare say. Okay? Even colder than some part of Alaska, like Anchorage or something. Okay? Somehow the weather patterns, there's a strange weather pattern, happens like that, so that extremely cold weather you will experience. Okay? And so in the winter time, there's nothing else you can do but study, study, study. So the University of Minnesota is very famous for their economics department, especially macroeconomic theory. Okay? And finance department is separate from that economics department, but we're taking advantage of that reputation, and then we also learn together with it. Before MBA degree, I got my, I had work experience at Bank of America in Seoul branch as a corporate credit analyst for about 2 years. And then before that, I graduated from Yonsei University. And during my undergraduate years, I belonged to marketing club, okay? Not finance club. Okay? We never had that kind of finance club before. And I never imagined that I would end up in finance part, right, of the world. You know, life is like a box of chocolate. That's what Forrest Gump says in the movie, right? You never know what you're gonna get, right? So the implication for you is that don't imagine that you will stuck in finance only simply because you are in finance club right now, okay? You never know what's gonna happen. And actually, more than half of my friends in that club, marketing club, ended up in global finance business industry, okay? Investment banking, like Credit Suisse, or Goldman Sachs, or whatever, okay? So you never know. Open up your opportunities, open up your chance, okay? Another thing that I want to highlight during my introduction about myself is that each time I graduated from finishing each time I was on a job market, let's say after undergraduate period, or after PhD, right? Or even during this MBA period, there was some significant financial crisis. It's not about my personal crisis, but it's about Asian financial crisis and then global financial crisis later on, right? And then during my MBA days, there was 9/11 terrorist attack. So the job market for foreign students was pretty much shut down, okay? You could not get a job unless you are US citizens. So what am I trying to say, okay? I've gone through those painful experiences, just like what you guys are doing right now. We are going through a prolonged period of recession, or you call it depression. Okay? Do you agree or not? Is it easy to get an internship these days, or job market? What's your experience, right? Sending out hundreds of resumes and getting as many ding letters from now, right? Unfortunately, we cannot accept you, right? I share those experiences. So I believe that, I can be more comforting you, psychologically at least. So I guess you may feel a lot more distressed whenever you go to the job application process. You can come back to me and then could you share your experience with me? How did you tackle this and that? You can ask me personally, anytime. Okay, I'm here for you. And then another part of my experience, the introduction is this, right? You never know what you're gonna get, right? As it turns out, there's one more professor named Kim Young-han, exactly the same, right? Vector. But he's in econ department, okay? I tell you about this simply, because there are so many cases, students and people from outside calling wrong person, okay? So make sure you call me or email me to this address or this phone number, okay? This Professor Kim Young-han in econ department. He's a full professor, whereas I am assistant professor, which means he's my boss, okay? And then he's about 11 years older than me, even though he looks very young. Please knock on my door, email me to this address, okay? So don't get to the wrong person. And then my research interest, right? Teaching is an important part, or half of my life, right? Important half of my life. The other important half of my life is doing research, okay? Writing papers. Your QS ranking about this school, okay? That depends on the research papers that we write, okay? The professors here write, okay? Now, in that research life, what do I do? What am I interested in, okay? I call it behavioral finance, the part of finance that we focus on, okay? Traditional or conventional economist-oriented finance professors, they don't usually do it, okay? Relatively, this one is a brand new fashion right now, okay? What's the difference? Traditional economic way of thinking is like market is what? Driven by the rational market participants, right? Just like institutional investors who doesn't have any emotion, and then they're rationally calculating everything, expecting everything in the future, and then those things will be driving the market. But my research is more about, nah, we don't agree with that, okay? Market is also driven by psychology, okay? We are human beings, and not only institutional investors, but also individual investors are driving the market together with it. So the price may deviate from fundamental values sometimes. Those kind of things we'll say. Before I move on further, gotta ask you about these basic concepts to discuss further about my research interest. Have you heard about market efficiency, efficient market hypothesis? It's my first time to hear about it. Please raise your hand. I'm not gonna kill you. Don't worry. One. Anybody? So you heard about market efficiency before? Yeah? So how do you define it? What's your understanding about market efficiency? By the way, my class policy, anybody speaks up, open up your mouth, or answer questions, right? I give you a chewing gum. It's a fun part of it. What's the purpose of it? Well, relax, chewing gum during the classroom, okay? That's one thing. Number two, it upgrades your participation grade, okay? Get a point in participation grade, which is non-trivial, okay? Which is non-trivial. So you get the opportunity, right? Say it out. That's my policy. So, market efficiency, what's your understanding about it? Simply.
It's like the information on the market or price in every stock prices.
You said a very important concepts over there, jargons, right? Information is priced, right? In the market. So price reflects all the information about the economic fundamentals. That said, the primary driver of price, the key driver, the only driver of price should be? The information, nothing other than that, right? That's traditional economics way of thinking. Okay? Then the question becomes, what about non-information content? For example, some attention level, enthusiasm level, right? Does that affect the price? Well, traditional economists say no, but I say yes. Okay? That's what behavioral finance guys are doing. Okay? And then price deviated from fundamental value, I said, right? Sometimes, according to behavioral finance guys. Then the second question is like, how do you, what's the distinction between price and value? Okay? What's the distinction between price and value? More importantly, which one is observable? Okay? So, can anybody answer this question? Tell me. Value, right? Value. What is value? Somebody tell me about it. Value. What is value?
How much the individual think about the prices will determine the market.
Okay. You said one important thing. Price is observable in the market, right? And then the value, right? You were kind of going there but stopped somewhere, right? Value is observable or not? It's not observable, right? If you can observe value, you must be billionaire by now. Okay? And the whole discipline of finance will have to disappear. We don't need finance because it's already observable, right? Because it's not observable, we are making money. Okay? The value of it, value of any assets or security or stock or those things, we can think about it in this way. Value is some present value, you learned about it, right? Present value of your expected future cash flow. Make sense? Right? Future cash flow. We have to discount it somehow. And then sum it over, right? Over infinite horizon. So your value depends on your expected future cash flow. My expectation about Samsung's cash flow may differ from your expectation of their cash flows in the future, right? You may disagree in terms of cash flow and the degree of riskiness. Okay? We might disagree. Okay? We might disagree somehow. You'll see later on how isn't there a single beta that summarizes the risk characteristics of that one company? Well, there are some different ways of getting to that beta, right? What kind of premium are we going to use? That's going to affect this guy. What am I trying to say? Your value, first of all, is not observable, and then it has two channels. One is cash flow channel, and the other is risk channel, right? And then different people may disagree with, the value of a certain single asset. Okay? There's a room for disagreement. Whereas the price itself is observable. Now the price may deviate from fundamentals. In fundamentals, that value, okay, the value itself is unobservable, but let's say if there's a true value of it, price may deviate from it or may not deviate from it. The economists say price, on average, converges to this fundamental value. Okay? It has to be equal in the long run. But behavioral finance guys say it may deviate. Now, that brings me to my television interviews short film, right? Short interview with Bloomberg TV last year. Okay? I was lucky enough to have this, and they were interested in my research paper. And then I hope you enjoy this video clip just for a couple of minutes.
I just got back from the American Economic Association conference in Boston, and I brought you a quiz. Here's what we are looking at. This is a Bloomberg poll of the not the fundamentals, of the mechanics of a stock. You're looking at volume and price. What would you say has happened to that company?
He's pondering.
Price is going down.
Anybody familiar with this?
Here's what's
name of the
happening.
company?
DI Corp is based in South Korea, is in the semiconductor industry. Coincidentally, the CEO's son is Psy.
Gangnam Style.
Did Gangnam Style, right? This is the guy who was dancing in the video. So here's what happened. This is a researcher, Andy Kim, took a look, was trying to figure out how we can separate attention on a stock from real information about a stock. And so the assumption is from noise, right? So people hear about Gangnam Style, they watch Gangnam Style, they read about it, they hear about this stock, and what happened is the price went up based on no material information whatsoever. This is pure attention, is what we're looking at there.
Everybody who celebrates this song were able to generate their own flash mobs with tens of or hundreds or thousands of people, and then excited about the song and upload the flash mob together with it. That's a great proxy for us about the attention level of the stock in that specific region. And when behold, when the attention level in that region is higher, then the individual investors in that region are more likely to buy this Psy's father's stock. And then institutional investors were rather silent in that sense because they're smarter money. And so the distinction between the individual investors and the institutional investors, we can clearly distinguish.
Quincy Crosby, this is what really struck me about this research, was that the institutional investors were actually sophisticated. They didn't move on this. Individual investors noticed the corporation, bought the stock.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons that you'll see, placements in movies. People go to the movies, they'll see a brand in the movie, leave and say, oh gee, this is an important company, I'll look at that stock. It's not fundamental analysis, for sure.
It's also why an athlete, a shoe company gets an athlete to endorse their product. You don't know how good the shoe is, you just know that some athlete has got his name on it.
What I would point out here, and I think this has been true for decades, with the exception of great work at UMass Amherst and at Vanderbilt, people in finance and investment stand in awe of economists' garbage analysis of what happens on the street. The economists, as a general rule, are absolutely tone deaf to what's called drift in stock markets. And we've seen it decade after decade. I mean, this is 2 points, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is 2 median points. I get the
Price.
point.
Yeah.
No, but he's looking at the attention.
Well, what we're seeing is, so this is all pegged to, each one of those spikes you see is when Gangnam Style became popular in a new country. And those are the individual investors in those countries. Let's take a look at who owns the stock now. This is even better.
Before you get to that, Psy's grandmother sells shares, so she's smart money?
In one of those peaks, Psy's grandmother's a smart money. But look at that. The fourth largest shareholder is Eugene Fama's Dimensional Fund Advisors. And that's a new purchase. So that, I can't quite square that. Well, Rachel Weisbad, our producer, actually got in touch with DFA, and they declined comment. But that...
Yeah, we should say DFA is hugely prestigious within academic.
Yeah.
The linkage of academics to finance.
Of course.
Eugene Fama.
Well, wait, did you also dance Gangnam Style too, by the way?
Yes, of course.
Let's count it out again.
Oh, we went there. Andy Kim and I did it. There we go. Those are my hips moving. And strangely, we're synced. I'm not sure how we pulled that off, but yes, that was what I did.
This does not look like the first time you did Gangnam Style.
When I first saw it, I thought it was animated.
I do weddings and bar mitzvahs.
All right. I told you before, you never know what you're gonna get, right? I never imagined myself, to have a chance to have a TV interview with Bloomberg TV in the first place, and still less, dancing with them. Have you ever seen any professor dancing like in TV? Like, it just happened there. I was very lucky. Anyway, the PBS, Public Broadcasting System, also did an interview, more extensive interview with me, also danced together. But that one, I'm going to play it throughout the semester, once in a semester, okay? As we reach some part of the market efficiency in more detail. So that's pretty much it for my own introduction. Now I turn the table to you guys and let you guys introduce much already? Is that right? Have you seen these people before? Right, of course, right? GBA, you guys are working together for a long time. Maybe you don't need it, maybe, but why don't we just take 3 minutes to talk about, maybe you could discuss something in the class, what's that, the first class survey. Okay, what's your answer? What's my answer? You can talk to each other, right? Go on. Everybody is very silent. Nobody is talking. Why is that the case? Because you guys know too much. Is that right? Okay. Maybe we can just skip that and shorten that part, and then we'll move on. Maybe you must have felt strange. Why do you do this bow tie? Now you realize why I was doing this, right? Because of that connection with that video. Number two, you may feel strange about what is going on with that video camera and who is she. But I guess all of you know about her, right? She's my TA, okay, for this class. And then what is she doing? I mean, that video camera is mine. And then she's capturing the video of my lecture, okay? I asked, I hired a TA for that purpose. Why did you do that, right? I'm going to explain that. I mean, let me explain it right now. Because I realize that many students, okay, are busy in handwriting and trying to, how do you say, catch each and every phrase and a letter and then the words that I speak to prepare for your final exam or midterm exam, right? So much so that you don't participate in class. You just shut your mouth and then, okay? I don't like that, unfortunately, okay? I think it has to be more interactive than not, okay? So one way of solving that problem, I thought, is just to record my lecture. In any case, you listen to 인강 and 동강 thing, right? So why don't I just do that? Videotape it, and then later, maybe end of this week or before that, I upload it every week, okay? So that you don't have to worry about, did I miss something? Okay, what did you do? And asking your neighbors, you don't have to do that, hopefully, okay? That's the only purpose, okay? You may have a question like, you're not a superstar, why did you try to, upload it on the YouTube? It's not funny. I know, okay? Plus, I speak broken English, just like you guys, just like anybody else. But, just to help you guys, right? And also, looking at my own lecture, I think I'm going to learn a lot too. Okay? A lot of improvement. It's so embarrassing to see my broken English presentation. So hopefully it will just, how do you say, discipline me more so that I can teach you better in some sense. Okay? So don't take it wrong. Okay? Hope you like it. And then, usually I just ask Monday and Wednesday I have 3 sections teaching. Okay, Wednesday this is the last section. Monday the last section is with your cohort 1 or something, 2 or something. The other's cohort. I don't know which. Let me figure out which part she has to sit. Okay, but that's the thing. And then the next thing is expectation management from you guys. Okay, before I move on to the detail of the syllabus. Okay, what do you want to learn throughout this semester in this class? What do you want to learn? What you want to learn may be different from what I want to teach, but we have to have some agreement. So, I want to ask you, any ideas? What did you expect when you come to this class? Somebody I've never given any shrimp comes. Anybody? Yeah.
Actually, I took a class for
Right.
behavior corporate finance last semester
Ah, where?
because I was in Netherlands as an exchange student,
Cool.
and in the class
Mm-hmm.
I heard about basic concepts of behavior corporate finance, but not many details. So I want to hear some more details from you and in a class because you.
Details of what?
Pardon?
Details of?
Details of behavior corporate finance that I actually use in studying corporate finance because I heard that it's a very important thing, especially nowadays.
Okay,
So yeah.
cool. Any other opinion? Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Right.
Last semester we took finance management, both of us, and I want to know how finance is actually used in real life, in the real field of economics.
Application to the real world. Is that right? How is the finance applied in real world? Banking situation, right? Keep that in mind. Right, okay. Any other, please? As many as possible, as much as possible. Please. Your opinion. What's going on here? Syllabus, okay. So, what's your opinion? Anybody want to say?
I was just going to say, like, everything
Everything about
about finance.
finance. You're ambitious one. Come on. The finance subjects, there's many, many subjects in finance. But we are not going to be able to cover all those things, right? You need 4 years or 3 years to cover all these things. So maybe I should give you some expectation. It's going to be about valuation and corporate finance, right? The DCF valuation part, the first half of the semester, pretty much it's going to be similar to corporate finance classes, okay? And then valuing those assets, those stuff. And then from time to time I'm going to cover some part of the behavioral finance, and then how is it applied in the real world. I'll keep that in mind, how to address those things, okay? Maybe I will talk a little bit more about my industry experience and mix it together with the class discussion. So that's the thing, okay? If you're expecting bond market valuation, right? Treasury bond, corporate bond, and then bank debt, right? Those things are not covered, okay? Debt market, you have investment class over there. Portfolio management, right? Multiple assets, how do I optimize my portfolio? Those things are not covered in this class, okay? Let me make it straight. Portfolio management is not covered. Derivatives, call option, put option, exotic options, or real options, those things are not covered in this class. If you're expecting more mathematically heavy option pricing stuff, you will have to go to the derivatives class, okay? Not this one. So those things I just have to clarify. Course introduction, syllabus, all right? Please take a look at it right now. But before that, textbook is this thing, okay? Investment Valuation by Damodaran, okay? It's available on the basement third floor, the bookstore at the business school building, okay? And then Damodaran is a very famous professor at New York University. And then this textbook itself is one of the Bibles, 3 Bibles I would say, in finance industry or this field, right? Definitely one is investment valuation. The other 2 belongs to Breedy and Myers Corporate Finance, and then the third one may be option pricing textbook by John Hull. So I believe this is going to help you a lot, okay? And then because I mean, this copy is free for our TA, right? And she is going to have a lot of work to do. And then course introduction for the syllabus. Let me go through one by one. If you look at your syllabus, you're going to see like this. Office hour, right? You may have some questions to ask me now and anytime, right? But before we move on further, how many of you have not taken financial management until now? Please raise your hand if this is your first finance class, please. 1. Only 1? So the rest of you guys taken financial management before? Cool. All right. I strongly encourage, right, people to take this class after you take the financial management, because it's going to be hard if you do not take it. Okay. Anyway, and then this one, office hour is a time for you guys to come and talk to me, right? To my office on the Business School Building 524, right? The time slot that I think of right now is 3 to 4 p.m. Wednesday, just before, right? This class. And then Monday, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m., right? You can come either of these hours, right? Please raise your hand if these 2 hours does not fit your schedule. Please. That doesn't work. Yeah. So it seems like everybody is okay so far. Let me see. And then if you find you take classes during this time, you just cannot come, then what you can do is just email me and then set up a schedule with me. Okay? During this office hour over here, you don't even have to, set up a schedule with me. Just come and knock the door and then open it. Yeah, I'm here, right? I guess you must, have you talked to your predecessor last year who took my class? No, none of you talked about ICA, intermediate corporate finance class, no? Didn't share any experience with them, no? Yes or no? Yes, please. Yes? Did you talk to them about how much they could approach me during this hour? No? Yes? Alright, so if you talk to them more about it, they will say, Andy is just there, in his office. Just bang the door and then open it and he's there. And so you can talk to me, right? Especially this hour. I'm here for you, okay? The only trouble is it's 5th floor on that top of that building, so it's gonna be tough for you, but try it. Course assignment, right? All right. Midterm midterm exam 25%, final exam 40% of your grade. Okay? So don't miss this exam, right? In case you have to miss midterm exam, right? You have to write, you have to give me some written evidence, okay? My suggestion is don't miss any of these two. First of all, midterm exam or any final exam. My policy is this: if you write something on the paper, you get something, get some point, right? If you don't write anything, you get 0 point. Then, also, if you miss this exam, you'll get 0 point. Absolutely 0, nothing. Okay? What if I get sick or there's family emergency? That's the situation I understand. Okay? But for that part, I need written evidence. Hospital, well, get the medical certificate. Family emergency, also get some written evidence about that. Maybe the day after the midterm exam or before midterm exam, you can submit those things to me. I understand that. In those cases, your 25% will be loaded on to the final exam, so that 65% will depend on your final exam. We call that what? Risky situation. 65% in single exam, okay? So beware. And then we have term project, which is I-Corp project. Everybody knows that, right? I'm going to talk more in detail about that. And then participation is 10%. Non-trivial. Okay? Non-trivial. It's about your chewing gum. If you don't get any chewing gum, you get 0 point. If you get the maximum chewing gum, you happen to collect the largest number of chewing gums, you're number 1, you get 10 points. Okay? And then relatively people will be curved. Okay? So make sure you speak out something. Say something, and you get something. Okay? I'm going to talk more in detail about it. Attendance, 5%. There's something more to talk about in a couple of slides later. And then you get 100% grade, A, B, C, D, E, F, right? A or better by the policy of this international language class, 50% will get it, A or A+, right? C or worse, 10% of you guys will have to get it, okay? And then you guys may be looking among each other, and then who will get that C+? My saying is this: rest assured, don't worry, okay? You have to be really bad to get over here in the first place. If you're worried about this, you'll be safe probably, right? The guys who will get this may not be even present today, right? But there are some guys who are there for you, okay? Don't worry about it too much. But study hard enough, okay? And then you must have gotten some notice from the department until now. The grading, okay? It will be curved by aggregating both sections of intermediate corporate finance, right? Section A, section B together, right? So it's not just among yourselves, okay? Don't try to kill each other. So you're competing in a macro scale, right? So that's the thing. Right? And the midterm and final exam, right? They are restricted open book exams. And midterm and final together. What do you mean open book? Restricted open book. Don't bring your whole textbook. 1,000 pages, going through those 1,000 pages is painful, right? You just have an hour or less, okay? What I'm forcing you over here is that bring one piece of A4 sized paper. On that piece of paper, you can print or write whatever formula that is important, okay? That will be useful for your exam. Write it out or print it out. That's anything you can do, fine, okay? Can I use a small fine print and then just fit into that small piece of paper? Fine, that's just great. Okay? I don't restrict anything. So, totally up to you. And then, problem sets will be given to you as we move on to further down the road, okay? About 5 to 6 different problem sets will be given. It's not going to be graded. It's for your training purpose, okay? Do it yourself at home or among yourselves, among friends, right? To make sure that you understand those concepts correctly. Problem sets and then book chapter problems, right? We have many different chapters going through, okay? I already uploaded the answers to book chapter problems. Chapter 1, chapter 2, exercise, question and answer. All those things are already on the web. So do it over there. And the next thing is that how many hours do I have to study intermediate corporate finance? Every week, right? How many hours do we have to work? Well, apart from this class, I think you'll have to take study about 8 hours per week. 8 hours. Holy cow, you may say, right? 8 hours to study exclusively for this one. You should take it as a serious math or equivalent class, right? That's life. Starting from this week, you'll have to do it. So if you cannot allocate 8 hours, I just have more important thing than that in my life. You should say, good luck. Okay? Good luck. I already said it. 8 hours, you have to spend it. Okay? So that's the thing. And then I-Corp project or final team project. Okay? I think this is going to be a very exciting one. Okay? Partly because I'm, organizing it somehow. And then this, we are trying to get to one company, okay, publicly traded stock company, and then try to write a stock recommendation about this company. Buy wholesale, right? And then you will have to do presentation about your stock recommendation. Why should it be buy? Why should it be sell? Hold, right? 10-minute presentation. Okay. 10-minute presentation. And then you will form a team for this project. The department's office will assign you to a certain group. Okay. And then during the final 2 weeks of the semester, you will value mystery company. I labeled it. It's a secret so far. As we go down the road, maybe closer to the end of the semester, I will disclose the name of the company. Okay? Then you start to work on it. Okay? We're going to use the techniques, valuation techniques, to estimate the value, fair value of the stock, and then write a recommendation, and then you do the presentation 10 minutes, and then 5 minutes Q&A. You present yourself or your group presents together, and then the audience throws you some questions, and I'll see how you defend it. And I'll also ask questions to you, right? Everything in English, right? So let's try it. And then maybe, how many of you are familiar with CFA exam? Please raise your hand. Is it your first time to hear about CFA? You have heard about CFA before? Nodding your heads, yeah. How many of you have heard about CFA Research Challenge? CFA Research Challenge. Please raise your hand if you have not heard about this thing. No, I've never heard about it before. Almost all of you, right? CFA, right? That's the charter or kind of a license, not a license, but kind of a charter that recognizes your capability in finance expertise, right? And that global institute, right, of CFA Institute has some program, special program about stock recommendation, okay? And then every year they hold it on a global scale, right? you can think about this thing as a good starting point to prepare that kind of competition over there, right? Last year, our GBA team participated in that competition in a national level for the first time, right? They were selected among 12 different university teams out of the whole country. And then 5 teams competed in the final round. They ended up as number 3. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it was their first time ever for SKKU guys to get into that number 5, and get to that number 3 stage, right? Ranking 3. This year, it will be held again, once again, okay? And then maybe, I hope, this will give you a chance to, prepare yourself and then familiarize yourself to that kind of setting, right? So that's one thing you should keep in mind. Participation grade, 10%. That's big, I know, but I like it, right? That's a fun part of my class, supposedly. Chewing gum policy, what is that? Well, it's to encourage you to speak up, say something, okay? Quantity and quality both matters at your stage. What I'm saying is, don't be afraid. What if I say something wrong? You still get it wrong, okay? Speak up. That's the thing. And then do not discourage your peers, your friends, from speaking up, okay? Let him or her, say something, give him a chance. I will give a chewing gum each time you speak up, right? And then peel off the paper cover of the gum, and then write down your name and student ID number, maybe section of this class, so that I can attribute your score correctly, okay? Then don't forget to turn it in right after the class, okay? Today you receive the gum, give it to me today. Not tomorrow or next week. I'm gonna forget, right? So my memory is a scarce resource. Okay? You get to my age, you realize it's not difficult. So get back to me as soon as possible. Be aggressive. Okay? Finance is about being aggressive to a certain degree. Okay? People over there are aggressive anyway. You have to be like that. I will check your name after class. No late submission, please. Okay? And then, what do I do with the gum? Chew it, right? During the class. Doesn't it look like a, right? Don't I have to look polite? Don't worry about it. Okay? Relax. Okay? That's my policy. Attendance, right? In the beginning of each class, turn in a piece of paper with your name, student number, section number, and your English handwriting. This is different from the chewing gum policy, right? Separately, you have to turn in it, right? Each class. The purpose is to familiarize yourself with writing English. You can write whatever you want, right? And please, no Korean or other language, but English, please. Perhaps you could write down how you solve a certain problem in the book chapter, or the exercise problem set, right? Just one piece of paper and then write it out and then give it to me. That's also fine. Okay? Just English. Whatever English is just okay. Important purpose of it, actually, I did not write it over here. Important purpose of it is to get your feedback, right? Kind of a real-time feedback. As I move on to the class, the further down the road in the semester, you feel something is uncomfortable. For example, I don't like your bow tie. You can write it. I'm going to take it off. Okay? I don't like this or that, or I like this or that. If you like something, I'm going to do more of that. Okay? What do you feel, right? What is your feeling? Or what suggestions do you have, right? Those things, your ideas, right, should be written down. Sometimes I had some students writing down like, I feel tired today. Yeah, that's also fine. Or unfortunately broke up with my girlfriend. Somebody said it. I was feeling, my heart goes on out to that guy. That's also fine. Some students were writing down like, I had some pleasant experience in my internship program at some company during the last week or something. That's also great, right? I'm too tired because I was working hard at Outback Steakhouse last night. That's also fine, right? That really happened last year. So I can see what's going on in your life. Right? I want to learn more about you. One exception: do not write down your class questions to me. What do you mean? Well, if you have any question about the problem set, right? I don't understand this or that concept. Ask me directly. Either come to my office hour right away or face-to-face ask me questions, right? So that I can tackle those difficulties right away. If you write it down on the attendance sheet, sometimes it may sit on my desk for maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. I try to tackle it as soon as possible, but it may sit over there. And then you may feel, Andy is not answering my question for 2 weeks. I don't want that situation. Okay? Your class question, just ask me directly. Attendance sheet is a separate one. Okay? Grading distribution, right? All students are curved. Overall distribution of grades remain the sole authority of the instructor. Once the final course grades are posted on the GIS system, they are final. Importantly, never ask for a higher grade. Please. Okay? Such solicitation may result in punishment, which means lower grade. I got A. I want A+, please. Don't ask me. Okay? That's stage. Don't ask me. I may lower down your grade. Why? Because you're asking for favoritism, sacrificing your neighbor's grade. Relative status, right? Relative status. So I don't want that happen. Okay? So don't push me there. Right? I'm gonna punish you if you try to solicit for higher grade. Seriously, warn you. I have to, take care of my, the scholarship that hinges on my GPA. Well, my parents are gonna kill me. No, come on. If you wanna do your best for your scholarship and then support, your family somehow, this is the time you have to do your best. Each and every moment, you have to speak up, say something, or do good in your exams, okay? And then the project, not at the final stage. No, please, right? The competition has to be fair. That's what I urge, okay? PowerPoint slides, right? Make sure you print it yourself before class, and make sure you have 2 slides or less in each slide of your paper, each piece of your paper. Do I have an example? No. Unfortunately, I did not bring the slide paper today. But what I'm saying is like 1 slide and then 1 slide. Okay? If you print it like 6 slides per page, you're going to have a trouble reading those things. Okay? Because you have some small font prints, fine prints. Okay? It's going to strain your eyes like crazy. Don't print it 6 slides per page or 3 slides per page. 2 slides per page when you print it out. Okay? Take notes versus video, right? I told you about it up front, right? So please, no need to write down the words that I speak. Words, sentence, or whatever. Speak up, just go with the flow. So that's pretty much it. Any questions? Any questions about the class management? Anything? Expectation? Any other? Clear? Can we move on? before we get delve into the textbook issues, right? The big question is, why do we need to value a stock or an asset, right? Conceptually, why? And then in what setting, okay, do we value a stock? Why do we value a stock? This is an important question. So tell me your opinion about why you need to value.
It's like an estimate of something what they will have.
Okay. So
Kind of marks that represents how the company is operating.
so you want to understand the company better
Yes.
in a more quantitative way? Good. Any other thoughts?
You want to know whether the price is right or not, right or not.
Price is right or not? Can we refine the language a little bit more? Price is what? Is it correctly priced or incorrectly priced? Should I say? Is it underpriced or overpriced? We want to have some idea about it, right? Yeah, this is all because value is what? Value is unobservable, whereas price is observable, right? So we want to determine somehow in a certain way, in a scientific way, right? Whether it is undervalued or overvalued or underpriced or overpriced. We want to determine it. And in what is it? Well, this is the alarm clock that is supposed to ring 5 minutes before the finishing of the class. Okay? So make sure that I will not go over time. So 5 minutes from now on. Good. So in what setting do we use this valuation technique? In what setting? Where? When do we use valuation technique? When? So investment setting in general, right? When you're investing in certain stock, okay? Maybe as a personal investor, individual investor, should we buy GI Corp or not, right? Or Samsung Electronics or not? That's one setting we need to value, right? Wow, isn't it something we have to just look at the chart and then whatever the chart is to tell us, we just have to do it? Well, not really, okay? Each time what we say is like we have to value those things and then have some precise idea about the company. That's personal investing. What else setting would you think about? Investment. Personal investment and then M&As, right? M&As, is that the only situation that in corporate setting? M&A plus when? In investment banking, right, we have many different divisions, but one of them is M&A division, right? And then what else divisions do they have? If you look at the brokerage houses, then what divisions do they have? M&A, fund management. The fund managers, do they need valuation technique? Yes, they need it. Consulting or strategy situation, right? And so even McKinsey, I mean, they are not brokerage houses, but the consultants, in order to sell your idea about new strategy, right? Consulting ideas, you need to get down to that number. That setting, you need a valuation technique, right? Also, IPOs or many different situations, you will need valuation technique. And how do you value a stock, right? We have three different categories of valuation. Okay? One is DCF, which is this guy. Your value is nothing but your discounted future cash flow and the relevant rate of return, discount rate. DCF, that's one approach. The second big approach is relative valuation. Have you heard about PE multiples? Price earnings ratio, PER, PER, all right? In Korean we say PER, and then in America they say PE. some price kind of things on your numerator, and then some earnings or some accounting related numbers on your denominator, and then try to get some idea about how much are investors willing to pay for a certain dollar amount of accounting related items over there, okay? The fundamental related thing. So relative valuation, you have tons of multiples to study over there, okay? That's the second big category of valuation. The third category is about contingent valuation. Have you heard about option pricing, derivatives, right? We try to interpret these assets, some of these assets as a call option or put option, and then apply those option pricing technique. That's a third category. We're not going to cover that much in this class, but we are going to spend most of the time for these two, right? Now, course objectives, I told you it's self-explanatory. What situation would you use it? Valuing public and private companies in all different industries, you can use these techniques. And then, course outline, as our last slide. First half of our semester will be spent on DCF. Where is that corporate finance class kind of things? Well, that's here. Okay? Your corporate finance kind of ideas will show up over here, free cash flow kind of things, right? Then you take the midterm exam, DCF valuation, and the midterm exam. After that, you go through relative valuation, the second big category, right? 2 weeks will be spent on that. Then we'll move on to advanced topics, applying these two techniques in different situations. M&As and private company valuation, perhaps bank valuation, those kind of stuff, we'll do it. Then move on to I-Corp project or final project, about 2 weeks. And then final exam on your very last week. Okay? Some people may hate it because I-Corp final exams are typically given before the I-Corp project, but not for me. Okay? This is a tough one. Okay? Until the last moment, you will have to study finance. But I hope you like it. Okay? I hope you enjoy it. Somehow today you guys look a lot more serious than the others, but relax a little more. Okay? And you'll enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. This is supposed to be fun. Anyway. So next week we will start from here. So see you on Monday.